Good morning. This is Mark Soderberg with ADM Investor Services with your morning ag outlook for Tuesday, April 30th. Mixed trade overnight has turned lower here as we get closer to the morning pause. Right now, corn is steady to about 2 cents lower. There were no deliveries against May corn futures overnight. That was as expected. Soybean prices now are 2 to 3 lower. There were deliveries against May beans of just over 500 contracts, and that was at the high end of expectations. However, after the spreads made new lows yesterday, we had seen a little bit of a recovery there in that earlier. Meal right now is up about $4 to $5. No deliveries as expected. Oil is down a full penny, over a penny now this morning, as deliveries there were quite heavy at just over 2,100 contracts. Wheat is lower across the board, with losses being led by Kansas City and Chicago, which are now down about 10 to 12 cents, 4 to 5 lower in Minneapolis. Chicago deliveries were just over 1,100 contracts, and there were none against Kansas City. Crop progress and condition report yesterday, I think, was generally in line with expectations. Corn plantings at 27%, ahead of the 23% from a year ago, and the 5-year average of 22%. Emergence hit 7%. Soybean plantings they did advance 10%. Last week to 18% complete, ahead of the 16% from a year ago, and 5-year average at only 10%. Winter wheat conditions did drop another 1 full percent to 49%. Good to excellent. Largest declines here came, as you would expected, in Kansas and in Colorado, both down 5% for the week. Overall conditions, however, are still well above where they were a year ago and the highest since 2020. At the moment, I'm thinking conditions do suggest a national yield of about 51 bushels an acre, above the 50.6 we saw last year. We will refine this estimate as we get closer to the USDA production report a week from Friday. Spring wheat plantings did reach 34%. I think that was the one that was a bit of an outlier, ahead of expectations. South Korea did reportedly bought 134,000 metric tons of feed corn this morning in a SNAP tender. Costs there of about $243 a metric ton on a CNF basis. This was for August delivery. There's also been reports of 2 more Russian vessels carrying wheat destined for Egypt being held up by Russian government despite already passing inspection by Egyptian officials. Late yesterday, Data Grow did raise both production forecast for Brazil's corn and soybean crops. Their soybean estimate at 147.9 million metric tons. That was up 1.6. Still well below the USDA at 155, and however above the CONAB estimate. Similar story in corn. They raised that almost 1 million metric tons to 115.8, where they again fall between the USDA and CONAB. Brazil's soybean crop's about 93% harvested right now. Heavy rains this week in the far southern part of the country will delay the remaining harvest, while also potentially threatening some of the production there as well. Rains this week in the U.S. will favor the central corn belt, slowing planting progress here. We should see some better opportunities in the far west and eastern corn belt. With today's trade this morning, the weakness in the bean oil product value has fallen back below 38% for the first time since December. After today's close, we do get a monthly reading on biofuel capacity and feedstock. So we'll also be on alert for any announcement from the EPA and USDA regarding corn-based ethanol and sustainable aviation fuel. So thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day.